Today I have with me the Aroeve MK06 and the Levoit Core Mini. Now let's get some similarities out of the way. Both these air purifiers are going to have a 3-stage filter system. So they're going to have a pre-screen filter, which is going to go ahead and take care of some larger particles like hair, like dust. Then we have the HEPA 13 filter, which is going to go ahead and trap 99.97% of airborne particles. And finally, the activated carbon filter, which is going to trap things such as odors or smokes. And as you can see, Levoit's going to have the bigger filter, and this means it could trap a lot more particles. And because of that, this also has a greater capacity at 240 square feet compared to Aroeve's 215 square feet. And as you can tell, the form factors are going to be different. The Levoit's going to be more cylindrical, whereas the Aroeve is going to be a little bit more rectangular. And because of this, the weight's going to vary. The Aroeve is actually going to be a little bit heavier at 3 pounds, whereas the Levoit is going to be 2.33. Now, when it comes to controls, things are also going to change because when we look at the Levoit, there's literally only 2 buttons, a power button, which we use to control the fan speed and to turn it off. And then we have this reset filter button. And by the way, when I do turn it on to fan speed 1, it's going to be very quiet, but does quickly pick up the pace when I go to fan speed 2 and 3. Now, the reset filter button, as the name suggests, is going to reset the filter status. So after 4 to 6 months, when it's time to change the filter, this will go ahead and glow up. You change the filter, you reset it, and you're good for the next 4 to 6 months. But in between that, make sure you do clean out the pre-screen filter. This will be with a vacuum or with your hand so it doesn't get too dusty, and this will be every few weeks. Now, looking at the Aroeve, things are going to be a lot different. For starters, there's going to be a lot more controls, and also the buttons are going to be the side, which is pretty good because if you're across the room and you want to see what setting you're currently at, you can go ahead and do so, whereas on the Levoit, you have to go ahead and look over to see. So we have a power button, which is going to turn it on and off, a fan speed button, which is going to alternate between fan speed 1, fan speed 2, and sleep mode, which is going to be very quiet, and the light/reset button, which is going to turn on a nice blue light, or if you don't want it, you can go ahead and turn it off. And then same thing as Levoit, you can use this to reset the filter button once you go ahead and change it. And there'll be a little glow status right on top letting you know it's time to change the filter. Now, the coolest thing about these 2 air purifiers is going to be the fact that you can go ahead and put essential oil, so you can use aromatherapy in these 2. On the Levoit, it's going to be pretty easy to open. On the side here, we're just going to click, and we're going to have this little aroma box with a little pad. And then the same thing can be done on the Aroeve, except this is going to be at the top part, although this pad is going to be a little bit smaller. So overall, you can't go wrong with either of these air purifiers. But if you're looking for something a little bit more simpler, something with a cleaner aesthetic, then the Levoit Core Mini is definitely going to be for you. But if you're looking for a different design with a little bit more controls and a light, then the Aroeve MK06 is going to be for you.